Hello and welcome back to this video. In this video, I'm going to explain to you on how the Shine program works and how to use the tools. And I've prepared a little presentation for that. So let's jump straight into that. So this is the Shine Your Inner Child Trauma Relief Program. Let me explain to you first what Shine stands for. So the S, safe. H, healing the inner child. I is inspire forgiveness. N is navigate through the superconscious mind. And E stands for empower. Safe. That's the most important thing. That's the most important first step. And that's what I'm doing. I'm creating a judgment-free and safe space for you to open up and start the healing process. For your inner child to be able to heal. For your inner child to feel safe to come out. Step number 2 is healing of the inner child. This is all about healing your inner child without having to go back and relive it. Because that's what a lot of people are scared of. And I think it can be very damaging. Having to go back to relive an event, having to go back and remember every detail. So with the Shine process, you're going to be able to heal your inner child without having to go back and relive it. Because your inner child is still part of you. Your inner child has never left you. And with this process, with this step in the process, you're getting a new sense of love and confidence. Because when you think of your inner child and yourself, that might be the adult version of you, and that's the inner child version of you. And you want to reach certain things. But your inner child has all those limiting beliefs and emotions and past trauma and experiences. And that's what's holding you back. So what we are creating with this, we want to get you, the adult version of you, and the inner child version of you in alignment. And then you can move into a successful future, because then there's nothing holding you back anymore. Step 3 is inspire forgiveness. This is often the hardest part, but it's the most freeing step. Because people often hold so much resentment, are not wanting to forgive, because they think that if they forgive, they're condoning what that other person that did. They think if they forgive, that they say it's okay what the other person did. But with this process that I've created, the forgiveness process, that other person doesn't even know you're forgiving them. You're just doing this for you. And once you can start seeing forgiveness differently, it's so freeing. And when you can finally forgive, it's huge, freeing, and profound. Step number 4 is navigate into the superconscious mind. So our superconscious mind is that place of creation, the place of solution, the place of self-healing. In our superconscious mind, there's no limiting beliefs. There's none of this but or if chatter. That's just a part where we can create whatever we want to create. Where we can create without all those limiting beliefs. So it's leaving all these limiting beliefs behind and creating the ultimate success. And number 5 is empower. Step number 5, run through every session. I empower with tools, recordings and videos, so that you can react in a resourceful way. Because what happens is life throws challenges at us. And when those challenges come along, we need to have the tools to react in a resourceful way. So when you have those tools and you know that you can react in a resourceful way, trust me, that feels amazing, because then there's less worries about the future. And with that, you can move forward as that loving, healthy, confident, and successful person so that you can shine. In this process, we're working from all angles. So we're healing your inner child. So we're healing the past, but we're also working on the things that are currently holding you back, which is so important. Because usually they're linked together anyway, but I want you to see the progress straight away. So we're working on those everyday to-day things that are happening. And that's what I want to hear from you. Every time we have a session, I find out what's been going on for you. So when you think of your neural network, anything that we do, any pattern, any reoccurring thing that's happening in our life, anxiety, any habit, any of those things are neural network in the brain. And if you think of a neural network as a tabletop, and let's say normally a table would have 4 legs, but that neural network has been going on for so many years that it has like so and so many legs, and everywhere is a leg. And what we need to do is we need to break down the legs of that tabletop, and eventually, when enough legs are broken, that tabletop will collapse. So in other words, that neural network will collapse. So what happens is every time you use a tool that I teach you, every time you listen to a recording that I give you, every time we have a shift in the session or you have a shift after the session, you break down one of those legs. And that's what we want to do. We want to break down those legs and make that neural network collapse. So when you think of our mind, it's like a muscle. So when you think of going to the gym, you don't just go to the gym once and you're fit and you got muscles. Same is our mind. Our mind is like a muscle and needs to be retrained because it's been trained to a certain way of thinking, and it's a thick muscle. So we need to retrain a better muscle that we want in a way that we rather want to feel like react or feel instead. And that's why repetition and reinforcement is so important. And that's why it's so important that you use those tools and the recordings that I'm giving you. A lot of people come back to me and they're like, oh, I had to use the tool so often. And I'm like, great, because every time you use the tool, you've broken down a table leg. So it's amazing. So use them. They're there for you to use. So the tools I'm giving you, I want you to use them and try them all. I'm giving you many different tools and I want you to try them all so then you can find out which ones are your favorite, which ones are the ones that you want to use. And what happens is at the beginning, you might have to use the tools quite often, but at the end, the more often you use them, the less you will have to use them. And every tool takes only 30 to 60 seconds. And every time you use a tool, you break down one of those legs. And eventually that neural network, that old thinking, that old habit or behavior will just collapse. And the same is with the recordings. I'll give you recordings to listen to. And I want you to listen to them at night before you fall asleep. Doesn't matter if you fall asleep to them or any other time during the day. But I want you to listen to them every day, at least once a day. And the same thing happens. Every time you listen to a recording, you break down that neural network. You break down another leg in that table. So I hope that presentation gave you a bit of more insight on how we're working together. And I'm so excited that you're on this journey with me.